All right. Well, what a crew. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're really excited for this conversation. And as a native of southeastern Minnesota myself, having grown up in Northfield, I'm particularly looking forward to hearing from all of you and how things are going with this new Launch Minnesota network that we're building. This is the second in a series of kind of regional conversations we're having with ecosystem leaders across Minnesota who are helping to really grow and accelerate our state startup ecosystem, something that your state government wants to help happen through funding and support and work with all of you. I did want to give a special thank you to Stacy Nemo Rubbing Ignite for being our lead regional partner for Southeastern Minnesota, and to Christine Beach, our Launch Minnesota board member, who's with us today as well, has provided tireless leadership for us in helping get funds out, but also just thinking strategically about what's needed in our market right now. I'll be brief because really we want to get into the conversation here, but I'll just say to start as we begin this new year and look at economic recovery in Minnesota and how we want to turn the page on what has been a very difficult last year for our economy. It is leaders like you and entrepreneurs like those on this call that are going to be at the vanguard of that recovery. And we know that usually in recessions, new business starts pick up, right? And that is the case in Minnesota too. We've seen 60% more businesses start in the waning months of last year compared to the year before. People just try new things, and whether that's because they see disruption in the market caused by conditions that lead to recessions, or whether it's just that they're separated from their usual jobs and need to start something new, those business starts always go up. And one of the reasons that we're really optimistic that in Minnesota, this can be a really defining moment for our economy is that we have one of the highest 5-year business survivability rates of any state in the country. In fact, I think we're number one, which means if you start a business in Minnesota, you are more likely after 5 years to continue to have that business moving and have it being up and going and a viable enterprise than any other state in the country. That's something we really want to be proud of and are proud of in this state. One of the things where we don't score as high is the number of people who take that first leap, that risk appetite for starting that new business. We're like in the 40s, mid 40s in terms of the 50 state ranking on that metric. So we want to get more people to take the risks. We know entrepreneurial leaders like you and entrepreneurs like you are making that happen. But because we know if the more people start, more people will stick to it, and we'll get more businesses built. Minnesota, as you all know, is just really uniquely positioned in this sense. I myself, as I said, I'm from Northfield originally, but spent most of my career out in Silicon Valley. Coming back here a couple of years ago with my wife, Mary, we've been really impressed by Minnesota's startup ecosystem. It's got a really unique mixture of factors. You've got a really great corporate community to leverage off of. You've got a super diverse economy. You've got people who start companies and want to see them through. And as we talk to other leaders across the state, there's really this feeling that Minnesota can be kind of the problem-solving epicenter of our country, that the kinds of companies that people start here are designed to solve very real problems that they care about, that they want to solve. And when you look back at the last recession, again, where business starts picked up because the economy was down, the kinds of companies that came out of that recession, were game-changing, certainly, but a lot of them were sort of the attention-grabbing mobile apps that have redefined our communication and the way that we engage with one another. This recession, given it's uniquely related to a global health pandemic, we think the kind of startups that can come out of this particular downturn and the way that it's been so targeted on certain industries and so related to health can be startups and companies that really focus on some of the deep problems that are challenged that our nation faces. And the kind of business to business and software expertise of Minnesota positions us pretty well there, and especially given our healthcare sector, we think we have a unique opportunity here. So Launch Minnesota, we believe, is more important than ever before. It is definitely a network. It's definitely a collaborative effort. And I think what you've all done in the E1 Collaborative and the southeastern part of our state with Launch Minnesota has been among the most promising trend lines in our state's regional growth for startups. And I think it just bears repeating that none of us in state government, certainly no one paying attention to Minnesota, thinks that the startup ecosystem is only in Minneapolis and St. Paul. There is a lot of amazing work and success and entrepreneurial energy and momentum across our state, and that is certainly true in southeastern Minnesota as well. So thanks for joining us today. We're really excited for the conversation. I'm going to turn over to someone you all know very well, Neil Molgaard, who is one of you, a southeastern Minnesotan, who helped spearhead the E1 Collaborative I feel blessed to get to work with every day because she teaches me something every time we talk. And I can't think of a leader we'd rather have leading Launch Minnesota than Neela. So Neela, over to you for the rest of the conversation.
Well, thank you for those very kind words. And it's so wonderful to be back with all of you. I'm really excited that today we're able to shine a spotlight on the incredible things that are happening in the Southeast region. I really applaud your efforts and your resiliency during this year. I'm going to first talk about our progress towards the goals we've made together, and then the majority of the time is hearing from you, the Launch Minnesota Network, also known as the E1 Collaborative, and our Launch Minnesota Innovation Grantees. We have 3 areas of priority. One is we want access to capital. So thus far, we have provided almost 80 unique grants to startups, totaling almost $2.5 million, with many of those awardees in this region who we are going to be able to hear from today. We've also incentivized about $40 million in private investment through our Angel Tax Credit. Our second goal is we wanted to connect Minnesota corner to corner, and we developed a first of its kind hub and spoke model, with the Southeast region being one of the 6 regions represented and one of the 7 hubs represented, and 60 program partners working together. This formed last March during the start of the pandemic, so incredible what's been accomplished during this time period. Regions were encouraged to look outside of their organizations, outside of their cities, to build on their strength, to really customize local and regional resources, but with the ability to pull on statewide best practices. The E1 Collaborative is really a perfect example of the intent of this grant and this initiative through Launch Minnesota. You've pulled together a broad coalition of nonprofits, higher ed, co-working spaces, economic development agencies, and the private sector, all working together to improve the coordination, the capacity of your organizations to help entrepreneurs in your regions navigate the wealth of resources. And our last goal is to increase entrepreneurial talent and expertise. And we worked with you and others across the state to provide lean startup training. Your region, in just the first 3 months of your grant, so April through June, right during the start of the pandemic, trained almost 130 entrepreneurs in lean startup training. Your region was also the first to step up to help pilot our new Minnesota Expert Exchange program, where we're having links to entrepreneurs to get the support from people and organizations across the state to provide that mentoring. And then lastly is we rely on you to provide the needs of the startups, to address the needs of the startups, the know-how to start a business. You've recruited new entrepreneurs, you've provided education, technical assistance, you've hosted competitions, you've provided access to investment to really help entrepreneurs bring their ideas to market. And for that, we are very grateful. So now we get to start the main part of the panel, and I'm excited to hear from all of your voices. This is the best part of the day. And so don't be shy, okay? I know you're not a shy group. So the first question I'd like to pose is, you have been able to bring together 17 different organizations, all sharing a shared vision. How has being part of Launch Minnesota's statewide network helped your regional startup ecosystem?
Neela, I would be glad to just jump in here and start to answer that question. And I just really want to thank Minnesota Deed and Launch Minnesota for making this collaboration even possible. And the exercise of moving these 17 organizations from information sharing to being truly collaborative is one that has required a lot of time and effort from all of our partners. And despite those inherent challenges presented, because we're all distinctly different, on any given week, there are several plus phone calls and many, many more emails that are exchanged between partners as we really work to collaborate together to find ways to mutually support entrepreneurs. And I think that challenge of being so distinctly different is also one of our greatest strengths, because we are able to leverage those differences, recognizing the strengths of each of the various organizations. So we have higher ed organizations, we have an agriculture-based organization with Green Seam, we have a couple of co-working spaces, We also have med tech focused down in the Rochester area. And so just that variety and being able to leverage those strengths has created a really great foundation for being able to support entrepreneurs in our area.
Thank you, Steve.
This is Chris in Rochester. I'll just say that I had a pretty good idea of what was going on in Red Wing and an okay idea of what was going on in Winona, but I had no idea what was going on in Northfield and other points. So just being connected, it's very helpful for me because I can point entrepreneurs to resources that they didn't know exist, including young talent in the form of interns. So that connectivity and that awareness of what's happening elsewhere in the region is very important to me.
Thank you, Chris.
This is Margaret. I'd love to jump in with an example. So one of the best points of leverage for us is being able to connect our students to the specific industry that they're looking to start their venture within and with one another. So for example, we had Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation had their entrepreneurial bridge competition this fall. We had a student from St. Olaf, a few of them participate, but one in particular was able to connect with a student at Winona State and develop a potential business partnership out of it. So even though neither of them made it through the competition, just having that network in place led them to this potential partnership as students. And then they were also able to connect with the specific sector that they worked in, which was agriculture, with resources there that I wouldn't necessarily have been able to connect them to. So just having those resources really helps leverage what can sometimes be very limited resources at the higher education level.
This is Marshall.
Nope, go ahead, Marshall.
Sorry. Yeah, I just add on the working level, I guess the perspective I would add that the E1 collaborative and the work we've done, it's really from finding and engaging and purposefully moving startups and entrepreneurs through the growth stage from concept to formation, validation, launch. It's been essential. Some of our programs have been a great gateway. We bring them in, but now we develop them and formulating. We're helping. Launches helped. You know, Jock Lab. We work with them. You guys gave them a $32,000 grant, which is awesome. And then we continue. That helps them move along. There's many examples of that, but like Smith. Collider is helping, we find it in our program at Red Wing Night, the partners like to say what Margaret is doing. It's a great feeder into not just there, but into the program. And then we all serve a common need in different stages. So we have many examples where we've been able to purposefully help and move people from concept to commercialization through the use of multiple resources. We all have that common need, get them from idea to a commercial, successful, sustainable, profitable, scalable running business.
Thanks, Marshall. And just to, go ahead.
I just wanted to jump in quickly. This is Pam Bishop. First of all, Margaret, thank you for sharing that. I did not know the story. So again, another great example of how this network is so important. I would also just echo everything that's been said, but I will also add that I think it's great that we're collecting data. We're collecting data collectively, which I think for me is really a powerful tool that helps elevate and demonstrate the great work that we're doing region-wide. And I know we have process improvements there that we want to continue to pursue, but just getting started and having something that we can all reflect upon and note in our work, whether it's reporting to a board or just, validating our time with others who, are expecting us to use our time wisely. I think that demonstrates the full power of what this collaborative is doing collectively.
Pam, that's an excellent point. And we're excited about that too, since this is the first time in history that we'll be able to collect that data corner to corner of the state. So thank you for that. I just want to build on something that Marshall said about accelerating the growth of startups. And obviously that's why we're all here today, right? We all have that common goal of helping our startups succeed. Could some of you share more examples about some of the collaborative efforts that you've done with E1 to provide some of those services that are needed. I know Collider collaboratively worked with others to host office hours. There was lean startup training. There was other efforts, but any that you want to highlight in today's discussion?
Neela, this is Pam. Again, we're formalizing. I'm excited to say we're formalizing. Many of the collaborative partners know this. We're formalizing a relationship with Collider to start 2 new peer networks that will hopefully launch in February. So we've seen the power of what peer networks can do, especially at the foundation. The Collider has been interested, and Jamie's been such a great leader in helping us coordinate this. So between financially supporting it and bringing in key entrepreneurs who are eager to have these kinds of convenings, this would not have happened, in my opinion, without the opportunities that the collaborative has provided.
Yeah, and if I could just build on that, Pam, actually those 2 peer networks actually spawned a 3rd one around medical technologies that Chris Shad and DMC were able to support. So that I think it's a good start, and I'd love to see more. We'll see over the next couple of months as these 3 develop. We'll have lessons learned, and I'm hoping to see more, because nothing excites me more than entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Jamie, and for your champion of entrepreneurship in Southeast Minnesota. Commissioner, I don't know if you have any questions, but we maybe one more question before we head to the startups that we're highlighting today.
It's really helpful to hear how you're working together and finding some of these connections. I think it'd be helpful to get an assessment from a few of you of just how would you talk about the momentum around the startup ecosystem in southeastern Minnesota? What is unique about this part of the state in terms of the kinds of businesses you're seeing started, or where the momentum is, or where the energy is? If you're telling somebody who'd never been to Minnesota before, hey, what's up with the southeastern part of our state and its ecosystem and its entrepreneurs? What are some of the things that come to mind that would best describe this ecosystem?
Commissioner, I think the way I look at it from Green Scene perspective, it's finally a group that's getting together that says, I don't care if an entrepreneur starts in Northfield or starts in Austin, it's going to help our region. How do we help that entrepreneur? Because it will impact, us long term if that company starts up here. They'll stay here and they, add workforce and continue that momentum. And I think this group has gotten to that point where we're not territorial, to the point of some things in the past or other regions that are very much, it's about their city or their organization. And I see it, we're very much collaborative here, to the point where Marshall and I have a meeting later today with an entrepreneur that's from St. Olaf that I was connected with from 2 different groups, but all Southeast Minnesota, saying, you need to be talking with this young man on this idea. And so that's how I would answer that.
I'll chime in there, because I think from my observation of the Southeast region, what's been really exciting and interesting is the momentum that started around college age entrepreneurs in Northfield and Winona in particular. And I think around the DMC, there's been some youth type of, entrepreneurs. And I think that there's something there that's really special. And the E1 collaborative has allowed for those. I think Margaret offered a really awesome example of by bringing all of the entrepreneurial activities together that are happening at the university level in Southeast. It's just maybe amplifying some of the really great things that can happen and accelerating those things. So I think that's maybe something that's special to what's happening down here in Southeast relative to the rest of the state.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, so we're going to move to the second part of the panel now, where we're going to hear from some of our innovation grantees. And the first thing that we'd like to hear from each of you is your elevator pitch. Share the problem that you're solving and a little bit about your business in a quick elevator pitch. Susan, do you want to start?
Hey, Neela. Yes, thank you so much. Well, elevator pitch. Live, Give, Save offers an all-in-one solution for giving and inspiring social good through our product Spave. The problem is, in the US, millennials comprise the largest segment of our working population, and they're seeking financial freedom. But they lack confidence in managing their personal finances. They struggle with budgeting. Let's face it, most don't. And they aren't saving and they have enormous debt. But the good news is that they want to do better. And they want to know that they're making a difference in the world. And they're actively seeking the right solution for their personal needs. And that's what we're providing in Spave.
Thank you, Susan. Clarence with Blue Water Farms. You're on mute.
Okay, is that better?
Perfect.
The mission of Blue Water Farms is the production of walleye and plant products at scale using RAS technology, recirculating aquaculture system technology, and on the plant side, essentially automated controlled environment systems. It's been challenging because Minnesota, even though it has a lot of potential in the aquaculture area, it's not really being picked up as it is in other parts of the country. But our mission is walleye and plant products, very similar to Superior Fresh, just across the river from us in Wisconsin.
Thank you. And Anna, do you want to share about?
Sure. Yes. So Cytotherix is a biomedical research biotechnology company based in Rochester, spun out of Mayo Clinic. The problem that we're trying to solve is there's a finite number of human liver cells that are available to the research grade and clinical grade markets. And what we're doing about it is we've created a licensed technology from Mayo, a bio incubator, which is a genetically engineered pig to expand human liver cells to be then harvested and used in research and clinical applications.
Thank you. Next, Keith with Marblehead Medical.
Yeah, thanks. Stroke is a leading cause of death and disability, both in the US and worldwide. And during a mechanical thrombectomy procedure, basically a stroke treatment procedure, the best predictor of a good outcome is the use of a balloon guide catheter, which basically stops blood flow while the physician extracts the clot. Current balloon guide catheters on the market see very low rates of utilization, something like 15, 20%. So Marblehead Medical is making a more usable balloon guide catheter. We have FDA 510K clearance. We have devices in hospitals, and we just submitted our follow-on device for a special 510K. So we'll hopefully soon have two FDA cleared devices.
Wonderful. Congratulations. With NanoDropper, I'm not sure if Alyssa is on, but I know someone from the team is on.
Yes, this is Robbie. I'm the marketing manager, and I actually want to just thank all of you because I was able to be hired because of NanoDropper's Launch Minnesota grant. So I'm here today because of all of your hard work. So Alyssa couldn't make it today, so I'm stepping in for her. But basically, NanoDropper is helping to combat medication waste, specifically with eye drops. So I don't know about you, but I don't have a 100% success rate when I try to put an eye drop in. But even if you do, eye drops, the way they're designed right now, are about 3 to 5 times too large for your eye to absorb. So the NanoDropper is basically an adapter that twists onto most eye drop bottles, reducing the size of a droplet by up to 80%. So for patients with diseases like glaucoma, they can be paying up to $500 per month out of pocket for their medicated eye drops, which you need to take every day in order to maintain your sight. Otherwise, glaucoma will continue to destroy your eyesight. So for people like that, this device could save them literally thousands of dollars a year. And it already is. It's already out there, and we have clinics and patients across the country that are utilizing the NanoDropper right now.
Great. This is part of the job that I love, is just seeing all this new technology addressing such big problems, saving lives, helping us live and work better. So thank you for the work that you're doing. One thing that we would like to hear from all of you, as you're launching your new technologies, obviously it takes a lot of tenacity, a lot of expertise. What is it like launching these new businesses in Greater Minnesota? Tell us about your journey. What's worked well, what we still need to do to better serve you.
Okay, I'll go. This is Susan. It's a little bit on the schizophrenic side, I would say. It's a way better today than it was when I started over 5 years ago. Neela, thanks to you, bringing everybody together and trying to create this collaboration that we currently have going here. And I can't thank all of you enough for making that happen and being a part of it and pushing it forward. But it's exhilarating and exhausting. Appreciate the focus, the new focus and growth and integration within the ecosystem in the rural communities. But figuring out how to navigate it, I think, is still difficult for new entrepreneurs coming on the scene and understanding a new language while they're trying to push their business, off the ground and understanding the lay of the land. And it's just a bit intimidating. And I think we can work better at helping them navigate. I do see the E1 being like a Sherpa in helping us go through the different or accessing the different resources. So it's very helpful. Mark Thine was really instrumental to me in understanding what to do at every different stage, and that was very helpful. I also think, though, that there's many opportunities with us to engage in accelerators, webinars, and events, and to apply for loans, grants, and investments. But it's really understanding, I think, when you start out, where is the best place to enter and then to move forward. So I think there's still work to be done, but I appreciate everything that everyone has done to help my business move forward. But how can we continue to get a little bit better with that? I think there's still a little bit of Minnesota nice also in there.
How do you all feel about like accessing investors and getting attention from venture capital? It's such a networked space, and obviously in denser networks like the Twin Cities or other major metropolises, you have a little bit of that, and oftentimes that's where venture capitalists look. Help us understand a little bit more about that journey and what, if anything, the state might do to help on that front.
This is Sean.
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, sorry. Just wanted to say that the angel tax credit is vital to the local investor side. I coordinated the Austin Area Angels Angel Investment Group, and then also coordinate the Southeast Minnesota Capital Fund, which invests specifically in Southeast Minnesota businesses. And the tax credit is a huge game changer for the local investors. So keeping that going beyond this year, I think will really help retain those dollars here in the state.
I totally agree with Sean. I think that is a game changer for all of us. For us, getting the launch grant earlier this year was the game changer for us. It allowed us to kind of step back and make some other decisions. But I do think that it's important for us out in the region, in the rural areas, when we're not within the buzz and the energy and the activity of those networking events that happen morning, noon, and night in the Twin Cities, that is a challenge for us. This year has been exceptional because we've been able to participate in activities that we otherwise probably wouldn't have because of COVID. And having these virtual events has been really, really powerful. So otherwise, it's a little bit more difficult for us being out in the region if you're not in, if you will.
Anna or Clarence, any thoughts?
Yeah,
I have a couple thoughts on. One is, along with being president and CEO of Blue Water, I'm also president of the Minnesota Aquaculture Association. And at our last meeting yesterday, one of the topics was exactly what Steve brought up. that one of accessing capital. And it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's particularly a problem here in Minnesota. You know, we've been so focused on corn and soybeans that there's hardly any awareness of the importance of aquaculture and the complexity and the richness of aquaculture. It's just tremendous, and it's recognized pretty well around the world on a global level, and somewhat in the United States, especially in places like Maine and California, and Louisiana, Florida particularly. However, it's hardly alive in Minnesota. And through the Aquaculture Association now, we have brought together a number of agencies. Yesterday we had Minnesota Sea Grant as part of the discussion, Minnesota AURI, Minnesota DNR, the Department of Agriculture, and so on. But my thought was it would be nice to have someone from DEED there as well. And part of that discussion is how we're going to communicate with the investor community in Minnesota.
And we can,
yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but we'll definitely, let's talk more offline about that and what you need from Indeed on that and Launch Minnesota. I want to make sure in our last couple minutes before our Q&A, if any other founders have any thoughts on the Commissioner Grove's question about struggles with investment, seeking risk capital, or anything else we need to know to better serve you.
I was going to say, yeah, almost all of our money came from out of state. Like we got one VC, they were from the Valley, and most of our even angels and family and friends came from out of state. That's definitely kind of one knock against Minnesota, despite the tremendous, medical device background that Minnesota has. We got more money from the SBIRs than we got from straight investment too. So you could say NIH dollars. I will also say, being in Rochester is also, you get less access than being in the cities. Basically, the only money in Rochester is, or not the only, but the only money for med device is from interested physicians, right? So they're usually high net worth individuals, but they don't have institutional money per se. Or those angel groups, South Minnesota Capital Fund and them as well, who are largely, again, comprised of physicians and the like.
Yeah, that's really helpful to hear, Keith. And I think it's, these are the kinds of problems we're trying to unlock, is how to get more investors interested in Minnesota companies here, how to highlight the ecosystem in ways that make that attractive. And obviously, the more wins we get, momentum picks up. But it's one of those virtuous cycle things where if you can prove the wins, you get more attention. But I think it's a valid thing to raise, and we've heard this from others, that there's risk aversion in the investor market too here, which needs to be worked on, not just risk aversion from maybe those who are uncertain about starting something. So I think both sides of that equation have to be focused on. There's no question. Neil, I think you might be on mute.
All right, it's time for questions and answers. Jen, did you want to lead this?
Yeah, I'll just check in to see. I know we have Jess from KAMT on. Do you have any questions that we can answer at this time? If so,
I don't have anything specifically. I've just been kind of listening in. I don't know if there's anything just important to any of you that you feel like needs to be highlighted out of this.
Well, Jess, I might just say that what you see here in this network, and certainly in southeastern Minnesota, is just a real building of momentum around a startup culture in our state. And we think this is kind of a right time, right place, right moment kind of time for our state. And these entrepreneurs are a great example of some of the directions our state's going to take. And I think, one of the things I've learned just talking to you all today is just how this doesn't just happen. Networks don't just come together without deliberate effort by all of you to do so. And the fact that you're reaching out to one another and finding ways to connect, and that this network can help be a part of that, I think it just shows that you kind of choose the way your ecosystem is going to be. And if it's going to be a pay it forward sort of collaborative group, then it can be, but it takes everyone working together to get that to happen. So that's one of the things I've taken from this. And I think just we didn't get a ton of time to go into the depths of each of the companies' business models or plans, but you can just hear by going through that list, the diversity of ideas and stages of development for these companies is really impressive. And I think it reflects the overall strength of our ecosystem in Minnesota, which is a very diverse and unique ecosystem for business. So that's one of the things I've taken away from this, which we will amplify throughout this effort.
Thanks, Commissioner. Neela, I don't think we have any other press on the line for questions.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to say any thoughts to that question? It looks like Susan, no?
Oh. I just wanted to acknowledge the higher ed group and the power that is with engaging those students. It's just been incredible. We also engage with the U of M on one of their programs, but I think the more that we can be intentional about that, Margaret was talking about that earlier, it's really, really powerful for us as entrepreneurs to engage those minds, those young minds, but I know that it's strongly beneficial for them as well. So I just want to applaud them, and I hope that it continues to strengthen.
Hey, Susan, this is Will Kitchen.
Hey, Will.
This is Will Kitchen. I'm sure everybody in E1 would be disappointed if I didn't say something about interns, and thank you all for saying that. But I just want you to know that it's crucial for our young people to understand that there's an ecosystem out there for them, and that we are creating a culture of creativity and innovation. Just since June, I've placed over 60 students in projects or jobs or internships with startups and small businesses. And the collaboration with St. Olaf and St. Mary's has been phenomenal. So I see nothing but growth ahead for us.
This is Christine Beach, if I could just jump in. I think one of the things that really impresses me about this, and Commissioner, I think we can really laud this as a success. I've just been in a several-day conference with other directors of entrepreneurial centers at universities. And what we have here, this collaboration that brings multiple universities together to work, is somewhat unique. All of my peers across the nation are working with their communities, but almost in isolation. And so the fact that we have multiple universities engaging together is quite a tribute to how we're able to leverage our students across all of these different startups. So I think that's something that we can be very, very proud of as far as what we've been able to accomplish in this network.
I agree.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, if I can jump in. Jessica with KIMT again. Not seeing as I'm the only press on this call, I did want to ask another question then. There's so many diverse ideas and a lot of great voices that we've been hearing from today. If you could kind of select one key takeaway that you really want to highlight and have the community members know, what piece of information would you want them to walk away with?
Okay, if I'm going to jump in, I'm going to say that this is a great place to start a business because you have an incredible network of people who want to assist you. The ecosystem is really powerful in the southeast region of the state. And so you don't have to move to the Twin Cities or to the coast to start a business. You can do it right here.
Well said. And our time is already overdue. But I just want to say firsthand, and I'll let the commissioner close, but firsthand, I know how passionate all of you are on serving our entrepreneurs and building the region's economy. And obviously the work that you're doing every day is so important, not only to your cities, your organizations, your region, but to us as a state. And you are all true champions in your work. And I thank you for all that you've been doing over this last year. Commissioner?
Well said, Neela. Thanks everyone for coming together. I've learned a lot in this conversation, and I'm just really inspired by your leadership and what you're doing in this part of the state. And we want to get out there and see more of your work in person soon. But these virtual connections are a great way to do this, across great distance and time. So thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be circulating this on YouTube and other platforms in the coming days to continue to highlight what this region is doing. And we're excited for the next chapter. I think 2021 is going to be a much bigger and better year for all of us, and we're honored to partner with you on that front. So thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.